Hello, everyone. Welcome to Loud and Proud Orlando. It's Monday, April the 20th, 8:07 p.m. Thank you so much for your support. My name is Luis Carlos Pineda. I'll be your host today. I'm here with David as well. Another frustrating night at Inter&Co Stadium. Orlando City fell 0-1 against the Houston Dynamo in a game that it was largely controlled until a late transition strike exposed the same old issues. Goals you don't score, your rival scores on you. We'll break down the halves. We'll spotlight the standouts, the struggles. We'll hear straight from the interim mastermind, Mr. Martin Perlman. We'll also be hearing about as well Mr. Iago. And also on the post presser, we had Brian Ojeda speaking and Robin Jansson. We're also going to be talking about the injury plague that's biting harder than ever for the Lions. On the bright side, Orlando City B delivered a PK drama in MLS Next Pro, looking ahead to Wednesday's must-win versus Charlotte FC at home. You know, what's the fix, a predicted lineup and score, plus tactical verdict on Perlman versus Ben Olsen, why the Lions are, I wouldn't say no longer near the basement. We're in the basement right now. And whether Perlman or a future Griezmann, may save the ship. We'll see. We'll discuss all of that today and more. Again, thank you for your support. Make sure you drop your comments, subscribe to the channel. We're Loud and Proud Orlando. David, what's up, my friend? Good to see you again.
Good to see you, Luis. Good to see everybody listening and watching. Luis, to play on our name a little bit, I don't know if we're very loud anymore. I don't know if we're very proud anymore. This team just gave us another disappointment this weekend that just shattering in so many different ways. I'll say this before we really dive in. I mean, we squeak by with the 1-0 victory against Naples, right? A lot of us felt like that wasn't enough to get the momentum going, I being one of those people. And you got to say, the team looked semi-decent for about, 60 minutes, especially defensively, if you want to look at it from that point. But just nothing cooking on the other side of the pitch at all. And just really, really depressing stuff. I'll get into some of the bigger stats later because I broke it down a little bit, but it's gonna be another tough one to break down, to be honest with you.
I mean, I understand the morale is very low, and I know for a lot of fans that are probably brand new, a lot of the new STMs, they've never seen an Orlando City so low in the totem pole, right, in the MLS.
Yeah.
I can certainly tell you, I've seen Orlando City when it first arrived, and we were kind of on this type of numbers, this type of looking.
Or if you were here for 2018,
correct. Yeah. So it was rough. Now, the bar was set high after the U.S. Open Cup win, and as the team kept going, the pieces that gelled everything together fell apart. Also, some of the coaching, some people always say, got stale. It's just, it wasn't the same Orlando City. Now, we were fed a rhetoric in which this was going to be a reset, not a restart. That's the first rhetoric that we were
rebuild,
fed.
yeah.
The fans were fed in the beginning.
Yeah.
But now we're definitely on a restart. So with restarts, especially without a coach, right now Perlman is the coach, but without a coach essentially at the helm, and with a brand new back line essentially, and a brand new mid, the mid that was the cornerstone of the team. So a lot of things. Now, I think maybe a little bit of honesty would have been cool, less smoke. I'm just saying. If I see it on a fan perspective, on a journalistic perspective, I understand where the team is at. On the fan perspective, I think the fans feels like they've been fed something that they're not getting,
Yeah,
right?
BS. Yeah, they were
So
fed
so
BS.
so
Yeah.
so I'm just trying to give the two perceptions, because I know a lot of people watch us, and now, based on this particular game we're going to be discussing right now, I felt in the beginning this was a chippy game, somewhat sloppy since the first whistle. I think, or
Oh, I wouldn't, Luis. I wouldn't say somewhat. I think this was sloppy
yeah,
from both
well,
sides from the first whistle.
well, that's my journalistic hat, but
Sure.
yeah, but
Yeah.
either way, I mean, also I have to say the Rev Pierre-Luc Lausier, mon ami, je m'appelle, vous parlez français. Jean-Pierre-Luc Lausier wanted to be a protagonist. I felt like he was not good at all. I think he deserved to be on OBT. I think the
Oh, he
17th,
lost control, Luis. I mean, he
yeah,
just lost control
right,
early.
yeah. So I think that I'm not putting excuses, but it's just my assessment. I think the ref was a little bit too harsh sometimes. He was just giving yellow cards like crazy. And again, it's pro. But Orlando in the first half, to me at least, it looked like the better side. I feel like, based on the stats, they controlled the ball, created the best game chance, which Thiago hit the right post from close range in the 44th minute. They limited Houston, but no goals. No goals at all from the Lions. The Lions show a little bit more of an improved structure of what we've seen in previous games, and a lot of attacking intent under Perlman, but it's just not good enough. There was no finishing, and also Orlando played without a 9. I mean, Orlando played without a true striker. Mind you, Thiago, yes, a striker. Angulo, a winger. You got Spicer, a winger, and you got Ojeda. Ojeda, he could play the striking position, but he's not a striker. I'm talking a true 9. And to prove my point, in the second half, just to say this, Orlando had 8 crosses with no number 9 in sight. Those 8 crosses amount to Jack Doodoo, right? Because you don't have a 9. So, but in the first half, I thought Orlando was kind of like the better side. But then the second half was a completely different story. But tell me about the first half for you, David. What are your opinions on that?
Yeah, I mean, so a couple of changes in this match that I think that are important to kind of bring up because it affects the match, right? So Dorsey can't go. We get the first start in MLS for Zachariah Taifi. So hats off to the young man for that and getting an opportunity.
Not bad, great.
Yeah, obviously we've been banging the drum. He started off a little shaky, I think is probably the best way to put it. He was going to have a heck of a task, right? He's going up against Guilherme for most of the game. If it's not Guilherme, it was Bogusz. So he was going to go up against a difficult opponent. But I think as the game went on, he kind of got into the game a little bit, was able to find his stride and things like that. So you have him. You don't have Brekalo, which we found out a little bit earlier in the week that we weren't going to have Brekalo. So Marin has to slide in, and I hate to be that guy because I know everybody likes to hate on Marin, but Marin played arguably one of his better games in purple. I don't think he had a ton of mistakes. I think he slid in pretty well considering some of his offensive numbers are pretty good. I'll talk about that later, but pretty decent from him. But the first half, really the story of the first half was the midfield still didn't seem to understand how to work with each other again. And we've talked about this show after show, week after week. It's this midfield pairing cannot figure it out. I mean, it's like they don't even talk to each other. It looks like they don't even play with each other, right? It
just felt, to add to what you say, it just felt Atuesta wanted to play very offensively, and Brian was left in disarray. And within that disarray, maybe a lot of people may see it as sloppiness. If you look at his heat map,
yeah,
he was one of the best players.
Well, I was going to get to that. Like Brian Ojeda had one of his better games he's had in purple. Yeah,
100%. So
yeah,
because I saw some people saying, there was some sloppiness coming from him. I disagree. I think that Atuesta was kind of, he's not playing in full fit form. Clearly, I mean, he's questionable right now, I believe.
When he limped off the field.
Yeah.
Like when he got subbed off, he limped off the field.
So it's just a matter of also, that right there is the coaching, in my opinion. It's just selecting who's going to play and who you're going to rest.
Yeah.
It's load management. You cannot always.
But here's the thing, Luis, with Atuesta, and we said this last show. If he's not healthy, don't play him. Like, what do we like? Yeah. I understand this team is ravaged by injuries, but you're actually in one position that has some people that can back him up, in Colin Gusky and in Luis Otavio. So sure, you're going to take your lumps with either one of them because they're still young midfielders, so they're still obviously starting their careers and whatnot. But if Atuesta is not healthy, why are you playing him? It doesn't make sense. You've got a congested schedule, and worst of worst case scenarios, as you and I know, Luis, you've got Dylan Judelson down with OCB, who could easily be called up for a couple of games, and he can fill in for you if you need him to fill in, right? I know, again, another kid, but like, there's a reason why you build these academy teams out, right? Is to cover for this. And so, and I'll say this, in the chaos that was the midfield and Ojeda trying to cover it as much as he could, and I mean B. Ojeda, not Teen Show, just to make it clear for everybody. I thought he still did decently considering he had a lot to cover, right? Because like you said, Atuesta didn't really give him a chance. You also saw this a lot in the second half, where off of goal kicks and things like that, they would just give the ball to Brian Ojeda and let him bring the ball up the field. They just didn't even try to like fling it long or try to get it to another area. They just got it to Brian Ojeda's feet, and then he would go forward and kind of progress the ball. So clearly there's trust there, right? To let him kind of move the ball forward and do what he needs to do there. But like, and we'll get to the second half in a second, but the bigger question again becomes nothing from Teen Show again this game. There just wasn't much there again. We didn't have Pasalic because of the injury, which we found out super late that he picks up a knock and he doesn't make it. And of course, like we reported today, according to various sources, I think on both of our sides, he could miss some serious time, which is concerning beyond belief, of course. But then...
Well, also I might say, we don't know yet the length of the injury.
Sure.
The club has no comment on that.
Sure.
Although, if you think it rational, and again, this is pure, this is just my opinion. I guess I just want to say this is based on me covering team for a long time, me watching MLS for a long time, me going to different stadiums. All I'm telling you, the way I feel, also the player is going to be is like, if this is an injury that's going to get him out of action for more than 3 weeks, we're not going to see Pasalic probably till after the World Cup. So let's hope.
Well, then we probably don't see Pasalic again, because I'm still convinced he gets sold in the summer. And I agree with you, right? At that point, he probably shuts himself down, right? He says, "I'm not missing the World Cup for this," right?
Exactly. Yeah. So right now you have to understand. I mean, per sources, every DP in the locker room, it's a little down of what's happening right now, and I think every single player feels certain level of responsibility on the stage of the club right now. I mean, you can feel it when you see them walking through the hallway, and you see when I was walking back from gate D, and I saw Teen Show, he looked down, like he didn't want to be there. You know, he was signing stuff for the kids outside on gate D.
Sure.
But he just looked like he just didn't want to be there, right? So again, the momentum is down, but when it comes to Pasalic, I mean, think about it. You've been a regular for the coach of Croatia. Mm-hmm. You've been a starter in some of the friendlies. Yep. You actually performed pretty well. You had assists, goals. You know, you've shown you've balled out.
His last window was great. He had a great last window.
Certainly, he's going to be part of the squad for the World Cup. Sure. So if this injury, God forbid, this injury, I feel if it's more than 3 weeks for him to sit, I think for his sake too. I mean, he's probably going to be like, "Hey, coach, like, you know what I mean? Like, let me go with Croatia, right?" Because otherwise, this is something that, any minor knock that may happen during the World Cup, right before the World Cup, I'm talking about May, June, could hinder his call up for the World Cup. And, for a player, and again, for their profession, playing a World Cup is like a doctorate. It's like getting a master's. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah,
So
for
so
sure.
it's a huge thing. So, but just taking it back into the game, momentum shifted. I feel in the second half. I feel Houston tactically sat deeper
Oh, for
and
sure. Yeah, no doubt.
absorbed all the pressure.
Yeah,
And
we had what, 64% of possession or something in the second half.
right,
We like just dominated the ball.
and
Yeah.
then pounced on the counter.
Yeah.
Pounced on the counter.
Yeah.
And in the 75th minute, the goal came after Orlando were caught out in transition.
So
Defenders
wait,
out.
Luis, before all of that though, if you go back and watch the play, it all starts, they, like you said, they hit on the counter, right? It all starts when Atuesta goes for a sliding tackle that he shouldn't be making.
Yeah.
All he's got to do in that moment is stay on his guy, knock him on his butt if he needs to. You take the professional foul, right? I know he's on a card, but there's, of course, a way to play it so he doesn't get the yellow. Or at least hold him up if you can. But he's not able to, which leaves Robin Jansson on an island on the other side trying to defend. Ivan Angulo makes his way back, but Ivan Angulo, for some reason, can't get in front of the player to try to take the ball away. Brian Ojeda is like a step away. Iago does what he's supposed to go do, and he covers the other side of the goal that Crépeau can't cover. And then, of course, the ball pings around a little bit. A shot gets taken. Iago saves it basically off of the line. Then it falls to Hector Herrera, and Hector Herrera just nails it home, as you would expect a professional of his level to do, right?
Yeah,
and it caught everybody, right? And at that point, and you could feel it, right? And I'm sure you could say this too, Luis. The energy just got sucked out of the stadium. There was just
100%.
nothing.
Yeah, 100%. And also I felt, and again, this is my opinion. I felt some of the changes came a little late. With Harvey and Ignacio.
And you only made 3. You left 2 subs on the table.
Yeah, so Harvey and Ignacio Gomez. I understand, you. And again, you may want you can crucify Harvey. He had some. It was kind of like Tyrese Spicer. I mean, you wouldn't expect this out of Tyrese Spicer, but you got it in this game. And what I'm trying to say is, on the 1v1 with the Houston defender, he lost a lot of the duels.
Mm-hmm.
His dribbling was a little choppy, and he had to go back and get the ball again. You had maybe one instance for Harvey because he had obviously little window to produce, but he did. I'm going to say on a positive note, he did brought some spark. I felt Ignacio and Harvey brought some more of like a spark. Unfortunately, and this happens in the MLS. Orlando pushed late with the fresh legs, but Houston did poppy ball. Essentially.
Yeah.
Who is one of the cornerstones of poppy ball during the poppy era? 2 of them were on the pitch playing for 2 different teams. One right now is on the dumps, but the other one, he knows all the tactics. His name is Antonio Carlos. And he probably told them, you know what you got to do? You got to kill the game right now. And that's exactly what they did. Not to kill onto the kids, not to kill onto Harvey, onto Ignacio Gomez. I felt there is something there. Let's see it more. Let's not be afraid. I think right now we're at the point, I don't know if you feel the same way, David. It's going to be rough, guys. I mean, we're going to have DC. We're going to have Charlotte, which sit 3rd on the league.
Yeah.
And just realistically speaking, then you got DC with one of the top goal scorers of last year's, Ty Taribo, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ty Taribo. And then you're going to have Inter Miami. So, again, we cannot be, I feel, making subs at minute 80, minute 75. Like if you're going to go, Orlando just needs a spark. Right now, they don't need names. They need players are going to bring out some more of an edge. Because right now, Orlando, it's really depleted and plagued with injuries, and the morale is really low. So whoever, it doesn't matter. It's kind of like what happened with Nashville Shaq Muhammad this weekend. You know what I mean? Like, how he was embraced by Hani Mukhtar and all of that.
Yeah.
we need to see that from Orlando, but we're not going to see that if you put the kid to minute 75, minute 80.
Well, and that's what I don't understand, right? Is like, Justin Ellis gets in the 58th minute. I think that was a good time for him to come
Yeah,
into the
that was a good
game
time. He didn't
because
do much.
we weren't seeing much from Spicer. Again, I get why they start him, but to me, it just doesn't make a ton of sense. And I'll get to a little bit of tactics of what I think the fix should be going forward, because I've thought about this a little bit. But he comes in the 58th minute. Justin Ellis looked fine. I don't know. I mean, he didn't look bad, but he didn't look great either. I mean, he did have that shot that kind of like trickled to the goalie. It didn't have a lot of power behind it. I mean, you just got to hope that when he gets his chances, he gets it. But again, chances are hard for this Orlando team. So, you can't really blame the kid too much. And then, like you said, Harvey doesn't get until the 80th minute. You don't sub until the 80th minute. And they don't bring anybody else on to help the game, even though you had Gustavo Caraballo, which again, I get it. He's a kid, but like you have Gustavo Caraballo on the bench. And when we talk about OCB later, you're going to understand what we're talking about.
But David, I mean, look, and again, I don't want to be I don't want people to take this as disrespect, because then, but look, monikers and things in soccer happen all the time. I understand there's less things to talk about on the press conference now because Orlando's on the dumps. But I mean, these are good points. I feel like it needs to be brought up, needs to be, brought up. I don't think it's a matter of I mean, questioning is not bad if it's respectful. And I think the points that you're bringing in are important. When it comes to the substitutions, yeah, man, I mean, you gotta sometimes, go all in. You know what I mean? You especially now, Orlando needs that spark. And
what are you going to lose, Luis? You're already negative 19 in goal differential. You're at the bottom of this. You're leading the wooden spoon race. So you're at home. That's another thing, right? So at that point, you should be throwing everything on the field that you can in the hopes to change the game, right? And 100%. You knew, and like you said, Houston came in and they bunkered hard in the second half, right? They changed their formation to basically 4-4-2, but they basically told all 8 of them, don't even bother getting forward, just stay bunkered behind the ball. And so what you needed at that point is you needed some guys who could come out and potentially change the game a little bit, right? Like make a little bit of moves, make a little bit of speed. Like if Harvey gets an extra 10 minutes or 15 minutes, can he make a different play there, right?
So I'm going to read you the exact times of the subs. Are you ready?
Yeah.
And this is, and again, I want to show this is Sport Tech Solutions. This is per the club. So this is, I'm not selling smoke. I'm not reading. Justin Ellis entered, like you said, in minute 58. Great, right? Mm-hmm. But Justin Ellis, I felt he had one shot on goal. And then he was, I think,
Luis, he only had 10 touches and the entire 32 minutes he was on the field. So they weren't getting him the ball at all. And he wasn't finding space to get there. Yeah.
Now, Harvey Sarajian entered minute 79. Right. So he had literally less than 20 minutes, right?
Yeah.
And and Ignacio Gomez entered in minute 90.
Stoppage, technically, but yeah.
So 90th minute. I mean, if you see it and you're on the sideline and Houston is parking the bus, do you think Ignacio Gomez is...
Well, and let me say this, Luis. I don't want to take anything...
So Ignacio Gomez is Vitinha, and he's gonna he's gonna tie it up, bro. Release the Kraken.
I was gonna say this. The Gomez sub confused me. Like, I like Gomez, as everyone knows. I've been high on the kids. I'm doing a lot of reporting on the kids. I've watched a lot of these guys. Gomez was a weird one for me. Like, I just, like, him coming into the game at that point, it's like, why? Like, at that point, you've got Gusky and Otavio on the bench. If you want a midfielder, you bring one of those guys on, right? I mean, yeah, Nacho Gomez is an 8, but at that point, you should have been throwing numbers forward anyway. Your position at that point doesn't matter. You're really trying to throw as many dudes forward as you can. If you didn't notice at the end of the game, the last, 10 minutes, they told Iago to be in the box for any time there was a cross coming in. Like, that's what they were doing. They had Iago's, big self at the near post, because I'm on the south end, so I saw it clear as day, and he's over there posting up at the near post and whatnot. But, again, once you go down in the, 75th, 76th minute, whatever it is, you start to throw the sink at the 76th minute. You don't wait until the 80th minute or the 90th minute to bring these dudes in to try to do something. Like, what was the thought there? And again, you left 2 subs on the bench. 2 freaking subs that you could have used.
Now, I did feel like Harvey felt a little. I mean, he was subbed in for Taifi, I believe.
Yeah.
So playing Taifi's role, I mean, it's a little different than just being solely attacking minded Harvey, right? So
I don't know that they told him to come back too much, to be honest.
yeah,
I think they just told him go attack.
so I mean, I think in those 10 minutes, 20 minutes that he was in, I mean, he did pretty well. But we just gotta make that determine. I feel like we gotta be a little bit more keen to make that change because right now, honestly, we're gonna be the underdogs in every single game moving forward. So
Yeah.
we just gotta we just gotta roll the dice at this point, like
Yeah.
we gotta find that spark now. I'm gonna give some praises to.
Well, let's get to some comments first, and then we'll talk about
Yeah.
the good as well, because I think it's
So
important.
Mikey D, thank you. Honestly, was it right to fire Oscar? I'd rather have him and wait for the permanent manager over the summer.
Well, you were never going to look for a permanent manager if you didn't let Oscar with
Well,
Oscar leaving. It was more of a mutual thing.
Yeah, well, it's a mutual thing. I mean, I think it's a mutual thing. I think it's something Oscar also is kind of, may again, this is speculation. Maybe he already kind of smelled, what the Rock is cooking, if you know what I mean.
Well, and I'll say this: the kinder thing might have been Oscar to dismiss himself in the summer or on the off season and just kind of say, "Hey, I don't think I'm up for a full rebuild or reload or whatever it was," and let the front office know then, so they could have gone out and found a permanent manager. But I don't know; it fell the way it did, unfortunately.
Mauricio Garcia says, "Thank you, gentlemen. I really appreciate you folks stepping up, talking about the game, the team, and the game. I'm really confused by the low performance of Ojeda and some of our veterans. Are they?
I'm going to touch on that when I talk about positioning a little bit later after we get through the players that were good in this game.
Sure.
I'll hit on that for sure.
It says,
I got some ideas.
Personally go for Milton Delgado from Boca in the summer. I mean, we'll see. I mean, he's a great player. He's a great player, but I mean, we'll see. Incoming 5-0 against Charlotte, we'll see. Hopefully not. That's what Oscar used to do, basically mid-zero subs. And if he did it for the last 10 or 15 minutes, Harvey looked good for the 10 minutes. He was out. There's this Kenneth. Well, wait to wait. Adriana says, "Why wait to make the majority of subs?"
Agreed, Adriana.
I agree with you. I mean, we're not Brazil. I mean, that's gonna Brazil in 1998 World Cup in France. We're not Brazil. Definitely, we're not Brazil in 1994 World Cup. I mean, those players you have to watch out even in stoppage time. But right now, we're not that Brazil, right? We're not Brazil. We need to win again. Last Saturday losses. We need to win at home. Thank you, Sitch. Appreciate you, Sitch. Welcome back. Houston was parking the bus. Vinco, Good evening. Thank you. Alonzo, OC play a weak team. Not surprised to see a better OC. Wednesday will be the real test.
Alonzo, I don't know that it was that much better, to be honest with you, my friend. But
yeah, I mean, we'll see. It doesn't look like a team. It seems like it's just 11 guys playing by themselves most of the time. There's really no sometimes they struggle.
I've heard the Sunday League analogy a lot. It looks like a bunch of guys playing in a Sunday League. It's kind of the vibe.
They struggle with the connections sometimes. Sometimes the connections are really good, but they're not consistent. So something is missing there.
But Luis, we go to Mexico for the connections. Remember?
No, we're not. Hopefully, we need to drop. Is there a way to drop out of the League's Cup? Because we're gonna get. We're probably gonna get eliminated first.
Just hand in a note. Thanks, we're good. You could just go ahead and.
Not only that, you. I mean, right now Orlando City is running on quarter tank, bro. When it comes,
you're gonna have to play OCB at this point. You're literally gonna have to play OCB at this point. You don't have buys.
So you have to understand. You're gonna go and play against a Mexican team
in Monterrey to start the whole thing off.
Right, and so. Don't tell me Monterrey it's gonna play delicate and it's gonna let you. They're gonna go all out. They're gonna go and they're gonna try to. They're gonna hurt you.
They may set the record on us, to be honest.
Right. They wanna pounce as many American teams they need to pounce. Right. So, again, can we drop out of that? As a wars, I just joined the podcast. Is a Atuesta injury gonna keep him out until the summer transfer window? Please, pretty please. That's what I keep saying, guys. Look like 11 dudes in a weekend pickup game. Since Marin came to OC, the team has won 2. Yeah, so that runs into my segue for what I'm going to talk about next. They run the 4-4-2 we talked about. Otero needs to start. Attendance will be low on Wednesday night, is my guess. Midweek games are always rough. Plus, all I don't know why the MLS does that, but whatever.
Well,
But
they
I
have
agree.
to because the World Cup break is so
Yeah,
long now. They
I
got to jam it
believe.
in.
Thank you, Mr. Don. His morale is all the time, all time low. This is hello all. Here we go again. So we're gonna take an L to Charlotte, says Kenneth. It is what it is. Thank you, sir. So,
I love how that's the line now.
so that is our line now.
It's just great.
We should make that a shirt.
Honestly.
Yeah, I think it'll be great. I think people will buy it as long as it's not like $80. Like that'd be fantastic. It says so the who was good and who was not.
Why don't
I'm
we
gonna-
go back and forth? You start with one, I'll give you one.
Okay,
Well, yeah.
to me, Robin Jansson, and again, he just came back from injury,
Mhm.
and we are so bad defense. We've been so plagued by injuries, so shrunken down completely. They've taken all our juice, all our mojo, kind of like the Monstars and Space Jam. You know what I mean? The Robin Jensen looked good.
Mhm.
He was anchoring the defense, vocal about progress, especially in the post press conference. And also Adrian Marin, I feel like was a standout. I think he's been, like you mentioned, one of the best players defensively that we've had in the back line, kind of like a similar trait that Brekalo was last year. Brekalo was probably one of our best numbers guys next to Rodri.
I've been telling people, I think Adrian Marine's best position is inside. I don't think it's outside. I think it's in the left side of a back three, or if it's it's inside as. And again, we haven't seen him really in a back two all too much, but I think that's his best position. The other name too in that whole list is I think Iago also had another solid game.
Yeah,
another good game where you
he's
saw
getting better
improvement from Iago. This game showed Iago's range of passing, which I was talking about when we were going out to get him. This guy has that club in his bag. He just hasn't been in situations to use it because this defense just gets shelled, right? So one of the nice things about Iago, just to like throw some numbers out at you, he was 93% for his passing. He had 62 passes completed. And then on top of that, he had 7 long balls out of 8 attempted. He was 88% on his long balls in this match, on top of all the other defensive stuff that he had. And he was more than 75% on his duels. His ground duels, he was 75%. On his aerial duels, he was 70%. That's what you need from this guy who's like a behemoth of a center back, right? And again, like we said, it all starts with Robin Jansson being the calming presence in the center of that defense to organize the rest of the guys and figure it out. Unfortunately, the one knock that I think you have to give Robin Jansson is the defending on the goal wasn't super great from him. You have to acknowledge that, right?
I mean,
He didn't get a ton of help, don't get me wrong, but the defending wasn't great. But you don't want to put Jansson in 1v1 defending situations like that, right? He needs help.
Yeah, not only that, it's like also the stamina, coming back to fitness, the speed, whether you like it or not, the speed's never going to be the same.
Yeah.
Especially against a really crafty guy. I mean, that guy was a dribbling machine. So it was kind of having Ivan Angulo on the 1v1, right? So he was a nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
They did great containing him most of the game, and that was the only. I mean, that's how that guy is so dangerous. That was the chance he got. He was not gonna let it slide, and Nali did it, and he made Jansson eat grass essentially. And again, overall, all of that, Adrian Marin, Robin, Maxime Crepeau. I think he had a couple of good saves.
Yeah, I don't have an issue so much.
The young debuts, I'll say I give that as a huge positive. I think.
Can I talk about Zach Taifi for a second here?
Zach Taifi did great too.
Because I saw some discourse about him, and I don't agree. After watching the game, I rewatched the game today, and I looked at his stats as well to kind of back it up. No doubt, what we talked about earlier in the show, he struggled to start the game. But I've always felt like in every game that I've watched with Zach Taifi, which now I'm starting to go in the back catalog and really watch our young players' games, he tends when he starts to start a little bit slow, especially when he's with the first team. He did the same thing with Naples. He started a little bit slow, and then he was able to figure it out as the game went on. He reads the game really well. He just doesn't have the punch that he normally has when he comes on as a sub. Because when he comes on as a sub, he's got all the energy and he's hyped and he's, like hitting the field. But once he like settled into the game, and after he had that first sort of like dribble by that Guilherme puts on him, which by the way, he was only dribbled by twice, and both of them happened early in the first half. So he got him like out of his system. It happened, he got it out of his system, and he moved on. And then after that, he settled into the game, right? He plays 80%, he plays 80 minutes, he had 85% passing rate, 1 tackle, 2 clearances, 2 interceptions, 2 recoveries. And just played a solid game. I would have liked to see him get forward a little bit more than what he was able to do. But it's kind of hard when you're going up against a guy like Guilherme, and you're not going to be afforded that option, right? You're going to need to defend to make sure he doesn't get behind you or get behind anybody else. And then Anelli was also technically starting on the left and cutting into the field. So Taifi had a tough task ahead of him to try to figure it out. And again, if Dorsey's injured for a prolonged period of time, which again kind of came out today, I want to shout out Mike Gramajo and Alonso, who gave some training notes today. Like he's going to go up against Wilfred Zaha next week if Dorsey can't go on Wednesday, right? And so it doesn't get easier for him.
As competition grows, obviously, it's just like, and we've seen this with even Kyle Smith. We've seen it with several players. I remember Mas. Remember Mas?
Emmanuel Mas.
Right, Emmanuel Mas, right? So we've seen that sometimes they've had massive games against really tough competition, like against really massive players. But also we've seen like Brekalo against Jordi Alba, for example, last year.
Yeah.
As well, I would say there's going to be times in which a day in the office may not be good and may be good. And again, it is part of the business. You don't have a perfect day at work every time, right? Otherwise it'll be paradise, right?
Sure.
But what you take is the positives. And I feel like, I'm glad that at least he's getting the minutes. And right now he's showing that he's a solid backup for Dorsey. And so right now Orlando really has no other option. I mean, unless you want to experiment and the calendar gets tougher, and then we may get, and again,
let me say this, Luis, these kids are going to take their lumps. This is their first big season jumping up to the main team. I'm kind of over the discourse of, oh, well, they didn't look good, they're a bust, forget about them. People are asking for them. Guys, come on. Like, these kids, and again, this honestly shows how much people didn't watch OCB. These kids balled out for OCB. Him, Tari Reed-Brown, Caraballo, Justin Ellis, all these guys balled out for OCB. But there's always going to be a bit of a jump that they're going to have to make to play for the first team. And sometimes you hope in a perfect scenario, it's in moments where it's not life or death, right? It's 20 minutes to close a game. It's an Open Cup match. It's whatever it is, right? But this team is not in the situation to do that right now. Like you just said, behind Dorsey, there is nobody else. It's Zach Taifi. That's your option right now. So Zach Taifi is going to have moments where he's not great. But guys, this whole team is not great right now. So is he much worse than anybody else on the pitch? No, I don't think you can make that argument. I would say he still outperformed Atuesta. I would say he probably still outperformed.
I agree.
I don't think Angulo had the best night either, on the other side. So it's unfair to kind of put that on the young kids when, again, they're not given a lot of opportunity. It's the same thing with like Luis Otavio, where everyone's saying he's busted already. Give me a break.
And to kind of give and again, this is an assessment on my end, an opinion on my end on this. We're going to be watching the press conference, the preview press conference that happened today after during practice from Perlman and Iago. It's 3 minutes long. It's not going to be very long. And Coach Perlman said when he was asked about Marco Pasalic, he's like, so Marco, he's out. What are your what's your plan? Is he going to be a player that you're going to be missing? Something along those sorts. I'm not going to say exactly what Ramajo said, what Mike said. But he responded this. To me, all the players can fill in the shoes. Kind of giving the whole equality type of vibe. That you're talking about. Pasalic is your DP, dude. Like Pasalic is so you have to pick, man. So if you're saying that you're saying that every player you trust every player on your roster, then why are you making subs in minute 90? You see what I'm saying? Like if you're saying that every single player,
right?
The Pasalic is just one more player in the roster. It doesn't matter. I trust every single player behind him. Why Caraballo is not on the roster to play in Pasalic's place? You see what I'm saying? So what I'm trying to say is like it's a continuation of what's being said. So the thread of what's being said. So and again, yes, we're on the dumps. Yes, we're in a moment in which it's a little tough. But I do feel, just like the coach does, that these kids can bring some spark. It's just you gotta give them the chance. So you're either gonna be like,
well, no, but you not only have to give them the chance, Luis. Though you have to also understand that they're gonna take their lumps while you do that.
Right.
Like they're going to have opportunities that aren't good for them. But when they do finally show you that the talent that we're talking about, you're gonna understand. And again, successful MLS franchises. Look at what San Jose is doing right now. Right.
Yeah.
They bring in Timo Werner, which is like arguably their biggest player on that team, but everything else on that team is built around the super draft, their academy, and young players they've scoured from the rest of the league. That's a winning mentality, right?
Yeah.
And again, it's like Vapor says right now in the comments, what else do you have to lose at this point?
Exactly.
To try to see what these kids have, to understand. Because listen, I'll bang the drum. Some of these kids won't be ready right now, or might not be ready ever. We don't know. But you don't know until you give them the opportunity.
You need a 9, Pedro Leal, for example.
I was gonna say, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, just bring him on, bro. You can just even sign him. You know what I mean? You can sign him. I don't know how that works. I'll be honest with you. But
we've got senior spots left. But yeah,
we could sign him. Short term and go from there.
Since we're talking about like positioning and lineups, let me get back to the Tincho point that I think is really important. Where I think this needs to be. My problem with Tincho so far is that in this new formation of sort of this 3-5-2 that we're playing, is it takes Tincho too far away from goal. And it doesn't give him the opportunity to combine with the right players in order to make the goal scoring happen like he did last year, right? What I think should be happening here is like, if you look at the formation, if you look at FOTMob, MLS, whatever it is, they had sort of Thiago on the left side and then Tyrese Spicer on the right side as like how the lineup starts and how it goes off that way. I would put Tincho in Tyrese Spicer's spot. Put him right next to Thiago and let Tincho play off of Thiago, let him play off of whatever midfielder you kind of trust on that side, and then be able to bring Angulo in when that happens, and then put somebody else in that spot that Tincho was taking. You've got to get him closer to net. You've got to get him in a position to have better partnerships in terms of distributing the ball and moving the ball around. And Tincho right now has not been given that at all. Ever since we've switched to that formation, they can't unlock him the same way. He's too far deep, I feel like, most of the times. He needs to be farther up and closer to the 18. They've got to find ways to get him more involved because, again, like you said, Luis, now he's our only DP on the pitch. It's just him now, right? Especially if Pasalic is going to miss time. So we've got to see him start to carry some of the offense.
So put him as a starter.
Yeah.
I mean, put him as a starter 9. Put him up top.
Yeah, and let him drop in if he needs to drop in, right?
And again, what was not good, in my opinion, and to tie into what you're saying is, the finishing across the front line, the front 3, was multiple clear chances. We had a shot that hit the post. It all went bagging.
Spicer misses a header when Thiago puts it in.
Like, he shot it like he's like like Artemis 2, bro. Like he's like, what the hell are you? What are you heading? But again, the transition defense was exposed on the goal.
Yeah.
Iago couldn't fully clear the shot on the line. Overall, I felt the attack lacked clinical edge despite the volume of players that they had up front. Now, could Marco Pasalic could have done anything differently than Tyrese Spicer? 110% probably. But even with Marco, they've been through these slumps as well. So he's not been really having a good footing either. And I think it's more of him is like it was more a mind thing. He's not totally all there, all thinking Orlando City, because right now, no player wants to suit up to lose, right? So,
Sure.
but like you said, that ties in is your role as a coach, your role as a manager. I feel like maybe is also to find a turnaround for your DPs, because in the end, they are your DPs. So if you ask me about my DP, just like Oscar Pareja, have you heard Oscar Pareja called Luis Muriel words or talk bad about him when he was part of the team? Never. Not even with Urgent Kara. When it's a DP, you kind of have to have their back. And by saying that, Marco is just another player, because that's the way I took his words. Marco is just another player. I trust all my staff. It doesn't sound to a DP saying unity. In a way, you're putting a bag of rocks on the kids, putting more pressure on them. And I feel like you're also kind of diminishing Pasalic being a DP. You know what I mean? Because you're just like, okay, so everybody's just like me. So why am I a DP then? Right?
Yeah.
I think the role is to find a way how to make Ojeda work. And right now that we're on the dumps, maybe we can try, because I personally like the 3-back. I think, like you said, Marin, Iago, Jansson work on those 3 roles. I think.
Yeah. Or Brekalo if you want to throw him in somewhere.
Brekalo if you want.
It's some combination of those
100%. Yeah, maybe 100%. Some combination of that with Taifi and all of that. Even Tyree Brown. I think that works.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how do we connect? The defense is improving. How do we connect the offense? We don't have a 9, so we have a DP. Is our sole DP right now. Put him as a 9. He's done it in Argentina. If you look at his Godoy years, he's filled up as a second striker before, so you can use him. See if that works. You're right. And if not, maybe Pedro Leal. Maybe have Justinelli's drop. But you gotta find a way. Maybe Harvey Sarajian, maybe more.
And I want to say this too. Like Thiago's not the answer there. Wing, yeah, Thiago's not the answer there. Thiago needs to be on the wing, and you need to let him go wide, right? The answer there is to not try to force him centrally like this team has tried to do over the last couple of weeks. But you're right. I mean, without another 9 on there, and again, per my sources, Duncan's going to be out for a few weeks, is what I'm hearing.
Oh, wow.
And so it could be a bit before we see Duncan back. But that was the risk you ran going into the season with one out-and-out striker, right? I mean, that's what it is. And so I'll say this, before we get to like the pressers and kind of previewing Charlotte. This team right now, because I told you guys I would go over the numbers, this team right now in chances created across all of MLS sits in 28th out of 30 teams. 28th out of 30 teams. And just chances created. Not even looking at goals or anything else. Just chances created. And then if you look at percentage of chances missed versus chances created, they rank dead last, 30th, when you take that into account. So this team is not finishing. It's not creating chances. It's not moving the ball forward. So again, to me, it all starts in the midfield first. Brian Ojeda seems like he's that guy, like one of those guys you can pencil in. You find his partner, because you need to find his partner. And then you figure out how Tincho can get the ball at his feet as often as he can and as close to goal as he possibly can.
Yeah, and again, before we go into the post-press, let's talk about a little bit of the injuries, because the injury bug has bit the Lions a little bit more. The squad, to me, is decimated, man. I mean, I mean that's the only word I could use for the Houston match. Brekalo, out. Griffin Dorsey, obviously you got Wilder Cartagena, hopefully coming back soon. Jordan Gerbay, ACL. Duncan, lower leg. Obviously Michael Pasalic, right? Now, and again, where it's going to get tougher, right? So, it's not, I don't think the players will use that as an excuse, but I think it's evident if you watch the team all the time that obviously they kind of play OCB all the time, right? So they're going to play OCB kids all the time, but it is a big deal, Now,
Well, and let's
I
ask
saw a
some
lot of comments.
questions.
I saw a lot of comments
Yeah.
online, and I
Yeah.
wanted your opinion on it.
Yeah.
About is the medical staff? Is there something wrong with the medical staff? Like, what's happening? Like, because it's just a lot of injuries for and these are new players. Is it maybe how they're training? Is it the pitch? Is it the turf? Is it? I mean, what is it? The cleats? Maybe the cleats are too tight. I don't know. Maybe they need a New Balance extra wide.
So let me say this. I'm not a medical expert, so I'm not going to
Me
go in and
neither.
say
Yeah.
whether I think the medical staff is doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Well, that's what
I
I've been
do
hearing.
know, the facts are they are still running with an interim strength and conditioning coach. They never filled that position when it was vacated earlier in the offseason. So they are still running an interim, but he's been with the team for a while. So it's not like he's not familiar with the team or whatever that looks like. What I'm starting to believe is maybe a couple different things. Number one, I'm wondering if, because from what I've heard and what I understand, and Alonzo, you can maybe corroborate this with me, if need be. But I heard Perlman's trainings are a lot more intense versus what maybe Oscar Pareja was doing before. He's a very intense coach by nature. And I've heard from, again, I was at the OCB game last night, so I was kind of hearing this in the periphery of some players that had played under Perlman when he was in OCB and things like that he's a very intense coach. His trainings like to be very intense, and he goes. So I'm wondering if part of it, especially now-ish, is because there's a different intensity in training. There might be a higher level of intensity in training. So if these guys are not used to it and they're not fit enough, this is a problem, right? Because then you got to get the guys up to fitness and get them to the level of intensity of training. The other part of it, okay, I got it, Alonzo. Okay. But the other part of it too, besides just that, is, did the guys come in fully fit off of this offseason? Like, again, I don't want to challenge dudes, but like, were they fully fit coming into the offseason? We've heard in years past that the coaching staff gives them a guidelines on how to proceed through the offseason. Were those lighter this offseason than they've been in other offseasons? For guys like the U22, the Brazilian U22 trio, what was their training looking like before they came over here? We know Otavio was injured, so he wasn't training, so he's got to get back up to fitness. But what was Thiago doing? What was Iago doing? I don't know, right? These are all questions you have to ask yourself of what this could look like. And so, again, I'm not a medical professional, so I'm not going to say...
No, go ahead, finish it up.
I was going to say, what I was going to say is just, I'm not a medical professional, so I'm not going to sit here and act like I know what it's like to be a strength and conditioning coach, or that I'm an athletic trainer and I know how to deal with various knocks. The one thing I will say is this at this point: this team, in the state that it's in, should not be rushing any player back, period. 100%. What happened to Robin Jansson was honestly a miracle. I mean, let's just call it what it is. That was a miracle that he got back as quickly as he did. But Atuesta needs to rest and recover until he's 100% healthy. Wilder Cartagena needs to rest and recover
100%.
until he's 100% healthy, because I think Wilder could be very important for us for, let's say, an Open Cup run. Like, imagine having Wilder Cartagena to be able to plug in and be able to let you continue down the Open Cup, right? Because I think at this point, that's really the only trophy you should be dreaming about in your trophy cabinet, because this team is not sniffing any playoffs at the moment. But really, I think that needs to be the focus. And again, if it is a systemic issue of players getting hurt, there needs to be an investigation. They need to start looking internally and saying, hey, what's going on here?
So to tie into what you say, well, number one, journalistically speaking, when we ask about any sort of injuries, there's always no comment. So number one. So for people that are asking me, because I've gotten a lot of messages on Facebook, on Twitter and all of that, hey, you know what happened with Passalich? Like the club, it's never gonna say.
Yeah.
So they deserve the right of not saying it.
Also, so that you guys know, that's why we kind of have to source it out. Like we have to
Right.
ask
Yeah.
like our sources
So there.
because the
Yeah.
club won't give an official statement on it.
So there's not, and that is league wide. So it's not even just the club; it's just league wide.
Yeah, anybody who covers any of these teams has to
So
do a little
the only
sleuthing.
way, for people that call out transparency, and possibly are fans and not know the league from the inside out, that has to do with Don Garber. So the only way to fix that, it has to be Don Garber. So Don Garber is going to have to, make a transparency call. So they release, and then the clubs will obey and abide by what the commissioner says. Now, with all these injuries that have been plagued, Brekalo, Dorsey, Wilder, well, Jaron, unfortunately, because he's a phenomenal player. Duncan, and now possibly Marco. Again, we don't know yet; it's not official. Club has not pronounced himself. I think,
And don't forget, Otavio started injured.
right.
Jansson started injured this season.
You gotta you gotta find out why. Like, I mean, it's just not normal. It's not normal. Like I saw a meme today, Orlando Health on the jersey, and then everybody's freaking broken. Broken, beaten, and scarred. Right?
It is
Or,
it is
or,
kind of
or,
ironic.
it's kind of ironic. Orlando
Yeah.
Health, and everybody's in freaking crutches. So I think as a
Not
front
wrong.
office, you got to find out. Like, you got to bring a guru, bring Sanjay Gupta, or Dr. Oz, come in and be like, yo, let me take a look at your pitch. Let me take a look at the size of the balls. I don't know. Let me take a look at all you guys' feet. I want a podiatrist. I want to see all your feet. How are you stepping on the field? What's happening? I don't know. But a really true professional is gonna cost you some money, bro. It's gonna cost you some money.
Right.
Like everything in life. But I think for the betterment on how to maybe handle, because as we bring new coaches and new faces that are gonna boost the team,
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna also have to invest on what's below that.
Yeah.
So the staff that
The rest of the
works
staff is so important. Yeah.
alongside it. So
Yeah.
you cannot bring Josep Mourinho, let's say, just to give you a name, or Pep Guardiola, and just expect that now everybody's going to be healthy. He may say, hey, there's something wrong here. Like, we need a true professional to come and
Mhm.
step in. It's going to cost you over $100,000 a year, but it's you got to do what you got to do if you don't want your players to be broken. You know what I mean? And it's like that.
All I'll say is the club's sports psychologist is definitely making her making it worth it for her, because I'm sure she has a lot that she's going through. But again, the club might already be doing that. We don't know, obviously, behind the scenes what they're looking at and how they're doing it. But if they're not, they need to, because this is uncharacteristically high in terms of the injuries that we're going through. And I don't see a lot of teams that are going through as long of a list as we have, like, this season. I mean, it's crazy. I don't get it.
And obviously, you got to put the players that are fit, and with that comes the trust. And if the rhetoric from the interim coaching staff is, I don't care if you're a DP, I don't care if you are Marco Pasalic, Martino Ojeda, I don't care. Everybody in the team is the same. Equality all the way. Everybody's equal. Everybody's the same. I trust all my staff. Then don't sub in people minute 90. Don't sub in people minute 80. Like, when if you know that they're gonna get hurt worse, take them out.
Yeah.
Make them rest. Don't make them play against Naples. Hello, Atuesta, right? And rest them for these games, because you
Right.
trust the rest of the staff. So that's what I'm trying to say. Be a little more consequential on some of the wording that's coming out, right? And with that, we're going to watch. There's the post game that happened after the Houston game. It's in our YouTube. It's the raw footage, so I've recorded it with my device, and you guys can see it. It's there. Thank you for everybody that left a comment and left a like and all of that. But this one is previewing Charlotte, and I'm going to play right now. Obviously, it was Iago and I believe Coach Perlman. And let's take a look right here.
Adapting well. I feel like I'm finally fully adapted into the country, into the club, into the league. So I think I'm excited.
So just to give you a little bit of preview here, they asked Iago about his time in Brazil and how he's adapting in the MLS and all of that. And so he mentioned, I'm adapting to the league. I feel like I'm getting better.
The league has a lot of little rules, different than in Brazil, but the style of play here is also different, and so it's a matter of just adapting to it and overcoming it.
Yes, I love the competition because the competition is the best way of train yourself. So we recover the players physically, and we do a lot of video session, which I think it's an amazing tool, especially with the quality of players we have. So
when you look at how the last games have gone, but especially this one, defensively, the team is looking like it's a little bit more solid now. Maybe the goal is the Houston scored is something else, but now how do you kind of shift the focus on getting that offensive spark going? Is that the new challenge that you are now facing with to make this team more lethal on the attack, considering the defensive end is now where you want it to be?
Do you want to join the coaching staff? This is exactly where we are. Your question is my answer. This is where we are.
Oh, man. Now, look.
How rock bottom does one have to be for the interim head coach? And I know he's joking, but to even make the joke of, would you like to join the coaching staff on something that is so freaking obvious? And thank you, Mike Gramajo, for asking the question. But so freaking obvious of obviously we need to work on the attack. What are we doing?
Well, I mean, again, I mean, this is, I mean, I think look, David is a fan, but I think I've been covering the team for a long time, so I'll bring more of the journalistic approach. So you have to own up your words, right? You've said in several other press conferences before, sir, with all due respect, that you were handling the offense for Orlando City for the past few seasons. The last season that scored the most goals. So what happened there? You know what I mean?
Where's it this season?
And again, just because the colleagues are asking a question to see what happened there, I understand you're joking, but again, the timing, right? I mean, right now it would be better.
You're in the lead for the wooden spoon. This is not an opportunity to joke about this.
So right now it would be better to say, for example, and again, it may be the experience of not doing the pressers.
Inexperience, yeah.
I would have said, for example, injuries have plagued us tremendously. I have full faith in my in my squad. Marco is an important player for us. I can't comment on what happened, but I have faith that the rest of my team it's going to fight, and we're going to work, and we're going to try to turn this around. And again, it's going to be it's been a rocky start, but again, I'm here in a position to try to make things work. And again, some of this is my responsibility to, using the more of hey, some of it is my fault too. I think it'll take the load from some of the players as well. You know what I mean? Because right now, saying to media, "Hey, you want to be the coach here?" It just doesn't. I think it's hilarious. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think it's great.
But also, somebody who's looking at it seriously, it doesn't instill a lot of confidence, right? If you're a fan watching that, you're going, "Wait, I know he's kind of joking, but also why would he make a comment like that?"
Right.
Because also, I said this online, but Martine, if you're watching, wherever I need to send my resume in, you let me know. I can go ahead and submit my resume for you.
Right, and right now the team is sitting on L after L. So the joking part, I mean, even though I understand we need to be jovial and we need to look at the brighter side of things, it comes a little bit sarcastic, right? And maybe that part, it's a little missing there. And I understand it may be a cultural thing. I don't know. All I'm saying is,
read the room.
Just read the room, read the room, right? Because look.
Because if this was a draw, Luis, if this was like a draw and Mike asked that question, that's probably funny and we're feeling a little bit differently, right?
I'm about to open Pandora's box on accredited media, and I'm sorry to all my colleagues, but I'm going to do it right now. And I know maybe a lot of people are going to get upset at me, but it's fine. We get held accountable for what we say all the time. And how, you ask? When you're not fed nuggets and you're a journalist, and because sometimes the league, depending who you are, if you're Eli Lesser, if you're like, a Tom Bogert, you get sometimes the club, hey, you want to send a tweet? I'll give you some nuggets. They send a tweet, 1,000 retweets, 30 million likes, right? But when you have to scratch the surface, quoting the great hardcore band Sick of It All, when you have to scratch the surface for an information, and then you put it out there, because for sure a good source have mentioned something. Now, the sources could be wrong too. It has happened before. For all journalists, it doesn't matter who it is. It has been, and it doesn't matter that you have to. You may check several sources, but some of them, they may be right, spot on 90% of the time. That 10% of the time, sometimes it may be wrong. But if the club sees something, because you're accredited media, that it's going to hinder something that they're doing, or it's going to stop something they're doing, the first thing they do, or if it's something untrue, let's say it's something untrue. Let's say I say, hey, I saw Prom in a so-and-so mall, buying Cinnabons. You know what I mean? Like I just throw some random tweet like that, and it's false. The first thing they'll do is call me. Hey, that's false. Why are you putting false information? All clubs in the MLS do it. So accredited media are held in a different standard. When let's say somebody makes a mistake, we get slapped. We get told this is the wrong information. Timing also for the coaches, right? I think it's fair to say that timing, it is the same thing for when it comes to some of the stuff and the jokes and all that stuff, right, that they're saying, right? I feel like, there gotta be some sort of accountability too on how do you handle a presser, right? Mm-hmm. I feel like, because if I would ask a question and I'm trying to be confrontational to a coach or to somebody from Orlando City, I get told, hey, you know what I mean? Or any other journalist, right? So we got to measure everybody equally, right? I feel like. So let's go from there. So let's keep going with this.
You couldn't describe it better. So yes, this is it. I think we organize the team. It never is enough. We need always to improve things, and we are in that part. Small last details, but yes, the structure is there. And the offensive side as well, we are working, and hopefully we can get the shape we want, and that we are used to, because in this club we have been scoring a lot for the last 2 years, and I was here. I wasn't anywhere else. I think in this roster we have a lot of quality. We trust in each player. Yes, Marco has the quality everybody knows, and we miss him a lot. But at the same time, we trust and we believe in all the players we have. Incredible. We play fourth, and after this one we have a bunch of games on the road. So it is the calendar. It is what it is. And hopefully and shortly, everybody will see that effort impacting in the results. And in that moment, probably good feedback is gonna come. I'm so lucky as a coach to have Ivan Angulo to coach.
There you go. So that pretty
So
much
Luis, let me say this. To play devil's advocate with one of the topics that he covers where he says he prefers to have all these games in a row because he thinks it's better than training because it really gets guys going and all that stuff. The problem is this team could almost use the break right now because they need to start installing some more of those tactics, right? Now that you've got the defense figured out, you can't spend a week's worth of training now trying to figure out the offense. You can only spend a day, and then you got another game, right? And then you gotta recover, review that game. Then you get a day, and then you got to go and play another game. And so this team right now is not in the best situation to try to figure out the offense unless they can just figure it out on the fly against one of these opponents. And unfortunately, Charlotte's not a team where you can probably spend to go do that. DC maybe, but you're away at DC. So, you're not going to get much opportunity there. And then you got to get ready for New England shortly after that, right? For the Open Cup. So I think right now it's a detriment to them.
I will take every single match moving forward. And I know it's going to sound so bad what I'm about to say. And it's not this is just an opinion. I'm not questioning. I think the club needs to go for the Open Cup. And I know Alonso, I spoke to Alonso. He feels a little different about that. He thinks that that's not going to happen. I agree, but it's just my opinion. I feel like they need to go for the Open Cup. They need to bring some spark also to the fans. I think it's something that they're able to maybe try to compete because other teams are going to prioritize the MLS. They're going to prioritize even Leagues Cup more than the Open Cup. And I think if we put all of our eggs in the Open Cup and just keep moving on, I think it's important. Now, you have to understand, Brekalo and BL hate us. And you can bet your ass they're going to have a phenomenal game against us. They're going to try to go and ball out.
Yeah.
Now, that's one thing. Now, touching back a little bit on the press conference, and I want to end with this real quick. Accredited media, that you all know, for the fans know, the Gromajos, the Alonsos, myself, when we put something out, yes, it's sourced. If you don't see it being taken down, it's because the club, literally. I mean, if we put false information of something that it's not credible, it's a done deal. You know what I mean? It's, they and that is not just Orlando City. That's just the whole entire MLS. The MLS spectrum is like that. And when it comes to transfers, there's more flexibility on transfer because transfers, there's 80% over 90% that are all baloney, all rumors, all bots, all people from Saudi Arabia making bots talking about the MLS. They don't know anything, fake accounts and all of that. And so there's a lot of leniency, and also they have their guy, which is Tom Bogert. And MLS transfers, they'll go to Bogert, they'll go to Fabrizio, and all of that. It is like that. It is like that in some leagues too. It's not just MLS; it's all over the world.
Yeah, like a Pipe Sierra.
Right. I want to tell people that because it is important. Because we want to give accredited media from our city the recognition they deserve. Also because they go out of their way sometimes. And I'm not talking about me because I really don't post. I mean, when I post something, especially on my account, mainly everything I post is on LPO. But on mine, I'm just talking to fans or putting certain information for other things.
I'm the dude that goes out there and does sleuthing and tries to piece things together.
Right.
Yeah?
So, but when I post something, it comes, I even gotten stuff for Barbara Banda, FIFA series. If you see it, me taking it down, it means that there's something wrong there. And then I was told, hey, this is wrong. You may want to delete that. Right. And it happens. It happens in every league in the world. no league is away from this. So sometimes, we need to say this because I think it's important for my colleagues, because I've seen some of them being called out, and I just think sometimes it needs to be brought up, because sometimes the fans don't know what the length sometimes you gotta go with very limited information.
Yeah, but let me say
us on the good thing is we're in perfect A standing, like Duracell.
But let me say this: the fans. I will say this as a reporter, and especially as accredited media who follows Orlando City.
Mhm.
When you post things online, a lot of people are either going to take it one of two ways: either as gospel if you have a reliable track record, or they're going to take it as a way that you're stirring up or instigating a fan base. This is always how this fan base has been. You're one of those sides of the coin, right? And so this fan base, as much as I love them very dearly, find ways when they're frustrated and down, they go for the throat, man. Like, they don't pull punches. And so you've got to be aware of the way that you're focusing and bringing things in, because I can tell you right now, instigating the fan base is not a way that you're going to do this.
It's definitely not.
And for example, look at Miami. Unfortunately, a good friend of Luis's in
Franco
is just getting crucified, for lack of a better term, by Miami fans, and unfortunately the club has decided to go in a certain direction with him.
Well, that's a good thing about Orlando City. Again, you can judge all you want, but Orlando City has always treated us, at least accredited media, with the utmost respect, and they've respected our work. And I'm trying to kiss their ass, nothing like that, because sometimes I'm objective and I try to. I'll be honest, I'm not an asshole, guys. I always like to look at the positive outlook of things.
Right.
I'm not here to beat up the players. I'm here to see what I saw in the game, and that's it. And they know this. Try to be a positive influence with my words and stuff like that. When it comes to social media, bro, I'm old. So like, I really sometimes don't engage, and I know how the game is played sometimes. But what I'm trying to say is, it's safe for the fans to trust your accredited media, because I see them every day. And I'm talking about Citro, the guys from Austin, Gramajo, even Farah from Telemundo, Alonso, like everybody there. Like, you could feel free to retweet their stuff. It's safe, because technically 9 out of 10 times the stuff that they put out, it's mainly it is within the realm of possibilities. And if it hasn't been taken down, the club pretty much is being like, okay, yeah, you can put it on, it's not hurting us. But I just wanted to bring that up, because I've seen, I know we're on the dumps right now, and again, like you said, going through the throat, but also, at least when it comes to me, you'll never get that from me. Like, I will never go and do any of that, So it says, just know how much we appreciate dedication to journalistic ethic is getting rarer and rarer in this age of attention of grabbing. It says, thank you, sir. And San Jose just destroyed LAFC with a super.
Yeah, I brought that up earlier. Yeah.
Yeah, we've done this.
Well, guess why they're figuring that out. Bruce Arena, a coach with a lot of tactical acumen who understands the game.
Usted hincha Orlando. Well, yeah, I grew up in Orlando since I was 14. So we won't have better results until we have a new coach. Experience is in some ways important, but not the top thing. The players need player that can trust, admire, and respect. Perlman missed it. This is Adriana. Thank you so much.
I agree with
I
that.
sit where I can see Mark Wilf, and I like the previous comment. He looked just. I don't know. I haven't seen Mark Wilf. All I can tell Mark Wilf is it'll be cool to get some help for Griezmann. You know what I mean? Like, again, it's not my money, so that's a realm that I have no control.
Griezmann can't do it on his own.
Yeah, honestly, I do want the head coach. It would change much. I would charge much less. No. It says
Why would you sell yourself short? Like, come on, take the full package.
30th in the league making jokes. We got into a new low. Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to say. It's like,
Yeah.
Look, I've covered South American soccer for a long time. I understand the Argentinian type of thing. It's part of the culture. It's fine. But here it's a little different, and that comes with experience, unfortunately. Read the room now. Let's dive into and let me ask you this question before we go into the next topic because we have to talk about Charlotte. Obviously, we're going through a slew of games. Charlotte, then we got DC, then we got Inter.
No, New England too. You forget about New England because we've got Open Cup in between. Yeah.
If those 4 games we are out of the Open Cup and we lost all those 3 MLS games, what are we doing? I'm not like.
Why are you bringing this pessimistic reality?
Is there going to be another coaching change?
Okay, so let me walk.
If I was a fan, because if I was a fan,
sure,
I'll be chaining myself outside Gate D doing a hunger strike. You know,
brother,
what I mean?
don't tempt Derek the Frogman because he's gonna probably do that already. But realistically, Luis, this is the way I look at the next stretch of games, because I think this is important to understand. I think there's 2 games in that stretch that you definitely want to get something out of. And that is you progress in the Open Cup, so you find a way to progress in the Open Cup, because I think you have to keep this competition going. I think you have to find a way to keep going in that competition, because our side of the bracket is actually pretty favorable to us, so I want to keep that going, number one. But then secondly, as much as I think DC is more of a winnable game, you've got to be competitive against Miami. You can't go down to Miami and get blown out.
Okay, realistically speaking,
yeah.
We're going to be playing that Freedom Park. I think they're still finishing some of the painting there.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, I want to be negative Nancy here.
Sure. Yeah.
L Charlotte. Let's say 1-0 Charlotte.
I don't think it's going to 1-0, but
0-1. Okay. They get the win in Orlando. Then we go to DC. They beat us too. Then we go to New England. We get eliminated of the Open Cup, and then we go to Miami. 6-0. At that point, I mean, my question is, I have a feeling like, and again, I think there's a lot of positives. I think Orlando's playing better defensively. I have full faith in the players. I don't want to be negative Nancy. That's not my thing. But realistically speaking, I mean, the upward trend is, it's looking like Orlando City, if they peak or they don't get better, fans, it's going to cause a little bit, I feel, more uproar, more talk.
Yeah.
More fans are going to be upset. It's just going to be really, the presses are going to last 5 minutes.
So I think it does 2 things, Luis. I think if that stretch happens like you described it, which is possible, honestly, with this team right now, it's possible. If that stretch happens, even though your stretch after that is Montreal, Philly, Atlanta, and then I'm missing one, Cincinnati, which that's probably a loss because Cincinnati's a good team. But those are the games before the World Cup, right? Those are the ones you have left before the World Cup. If you haven't identified your permanent coach yet, because again, I'm in that camp that I don't think it's Perlman. I know there's the reports out there that say 100%. It's Perlman and it's going to be him and he's going to get the first opportunity. I believe that he was given the first opportunity. I don't believe that he's going to be the guy that ends up getting it at the end of the day, if that makes sense. I don't think he's going to be able to do enough to earn that job. But what I think should happen is, I hate to say this, but if you don't have the coach identified yet and ready to bring in, you change again. And I know that sounds wild, but you cannot continue to allow this guy to drive the car and take that and take that much of a mental beating going into this.
We need to if that happens, I want to say it right now. This is, again, it's pure speculations. It's our opinions. It's my opinion too right now.
I have no facts on this at all.
Me too. I think the emotional distress is going to bring a lot of fans. It's going to be tremendous.
Miami alone, their fan base is
Miami
going to kill
alone
us.
winning over 3 goals is going to be huge. Losing the opportunity to compete in the Open Cup is going to be devastating. I'm going to throw one name. Javier Carrillo. And the reason why the reason why is you gotta I feel the team will have to reset at that point and be a little bit more honest and just say, and I get this opinion, say, guys, it didn't work. This, you know, sometimes this happens in soccer. It's normal. We're bringing Javier. Javier has been champion U19s, MLS Next Pro, knows all the people from the academy. He's right now running the academy itself.
Yeah, he's the academy director.
He's going to be helping us until we get a permanent coach, and he's going to ease up the transition for Griezmann to get here. And we're going to be taking game by game. You know, obviously some of the results are going to be a little iffy, but we're going to try to push through and do what's best for the batch. But we understand that maybe this was a little rushed, you know, that, you know, just use different wording.
Sure.
But I think that's another person that, in a way, it could ease up maybe some of the hits. Now, again, it's not a permanent, but also you have to understand, if you think about it, they just hired an assistant coach. So it doesn't really make sense
on an interim basis. On an interim basis.
Right, interim basis. So,
and it was in the press release. And then when Perlman went up, it said he was on an interim basis, and it said Goldberg was on an interim basis. Yeah. So what's interesting out of all of those is what happens with Goldberg, because he was technically hired to run run OCB, and OCB just hired Eddie Wilding to be their coach now. So does Goldberg go back to OCB and one of them's the assistant and the other one takes, I don't know. That gets really confusing, and I don't really understand.
So that's not part of our
but I'll say this, Luis. Based on what I have heard, and again, this is just like birdies that have been out there and all that kind of stuff. This is not from the club. This is not from anybody else. Based on what I have heard, there is a ramp up in the idea of finding a permanent manager. Whether that's Perlman permanently, which I am not a fan of, but again, the club's going to do right by Perlman because he's done a lot of good for this club over the last couple of years. Whether that's somebody on the outside, which of course fans are very much hoping for and banging the drum for. I am under the impression that the club is doing its due diligence to make sure that they figure out who that person is, but it's the right hire this go round. They're looking for another person to come in and have the length of Oscar Pareja, but to have another level of success that Oscar Pareja was not able to accomplish.
Yeah, I mean, in order to bring a top-level coach, somebody that's going to take you over the hurdle, I mean, they're going to have to not only, and again, for example, just give you a couple names like Gallardo, Mourinho, you know what I mean? Like
the special one in Orlando would be
Wilfred
wild.
Nancy.
Yeah.
They're going to evaluate the squad, and they're going to tell you, Monsieur, regardez, Monsieur, je précise, je need new players. I need a 9. I need a winger. I need a D-mid. I need 2 defenders. They're going to ask you. So the wallet is going to open up, and it's going to have to open up more. And it's not going to be enough with $10.
Right.
It's gonna your budget. So you bring a top coach, you're gonna have to increase your budget for your team.
And the thing we haven't talked about, and the thing we haven't talked about, and has been online, right, Luis, is that you don't convince Griezmann to come here unless you have a good sell on what the coaching situation looks like, right? Because Griezmann signed after Oscar left. So you've got to have a plan there. At the very least, you've got to say to Griezmann, hey, we don't exactly know the guy yet, but these are the people we're looking at to go do it. Or, before we make the permanent hire, we might run his name by you, right? Or something to that effect, right? I don't know how involved it's going to be, but something like that. I saw someone just brought up Renard. Yeah.
No,
I mean,
like Renard, it's a great coach. Don't get me wrong.
But he doesn't coach at the club level.
Right, but he's going to ask for play. I mean, again, he may say, oh no, yo no sé, I don't know anything about OCB. I need two more DPs, right? I need 2 more DPs, and I need, like he's going to ask for stuff. And with that, you have to understand, you're going to have to increase your salary budget. Like, you have to increase your salary budget. You have to make it work. Kind of like what Weeby said, get creative at that point. Like, and try to see, because
I still think this club finds a way to bring in a prolific striker to partner with Griezmann.
Hopefully.
I think you're doing a big disservice to everybody if you're not putting a guy next to him who can put the ball in the back of the net. I just do. Like, I think that's like, regardless of, because the story came out when he's on Sirius that Paslic could technically be bought down. So let's say Paslic stays. Let's say that's an opportunity, right?
Too.
Brian Ojeda can, yes, which he's going to be for Griezmann.
Mm-hmm.
So, but let's say you buy both of them down. Let's say you find the money to buy both of them down. Obviously, you go out and you get a striker because that's the area of need. But even if Paslic goes, like if you sell Paslic, right? I still think the better play is to go get a prolific 9. Go get a 9 who can play. Because, guys, if you haven't watched Atleti at all this year, or even last year, when Griezmann plays with Alvarez or when he plays with Lookman, Griezmann's on another level, man. Like, he's on another level when he plays with those. And I get it. We're not going to bring in an Alvarez or a Lookman, right?
You can bring Saint-Maximin. He used to play in Newcastle. You could bring again. I mean, we're just talking.
But what I'm saying here is like, and like Ollie says it in the chat. Like, again, I know I don't want to keep banging the drum for like Depay, but like Memphis is a guy you could partner with Griezmann and be very effective with, right?
Not only that, and again, this people are gonna flip out when I'm about to say this, and probably you are probably gonna disagree with what I'm about to say, but
okay,
it's MLS. It's about also, names, right?
Sure.
Be honest with you, Cincinnati right now is being linked to a name, very important name. I would say, and I know people don't want him, but Neymar would be a perfect fit for Orlando. In a matter of just bringing, like, a level like Griezmann. Like, I understand Griezmann is 10 times better right now physically, right now. I understand. But I think that when it comes to put butts in seats, new fans, and MLS is like that, bro. MLS is heartless with fans. MLS, this is one of the things that is being heavily criticized, is the lack of grassroots that MLS has, because it's all about this, right? Money and things. Unfortunately, a name like, you imagine getting Depay, Griezmann, and Neymar, just your front three, and then you keep Angulo, you keep Tincho, right? So
the problem with Neymar is he's made of glass, man. Like, is he going to be healthy enough to contribute on the field with a team that's already so deep on the injury list?
But again, Galaxy brought, or we can go the Galaxy route: Paintsel, Peck, and then Marco Reus. Marco Reus was kind of like Neymar as well.
My brother, I'd take Peck in a heartbeat. Honestly.
Like, for example, if Peck is ready to move out of LA, I will go for Peck, right? I highly doubt him.
Yeah. Right? I think a lot of teams would.
Well, what I'm trying to say is, like, you gotta surround your attack, especially this lack of goals, lack of scoring, lack of finishing.
Yeah.
It's because maybe there is really not a lot of, I know Griezmann is gonna probably score a lot of goals, but he is not gonna solve that problem himself.
Sure.
So. But anyways, let's read some comments, and then we'll dive into Charlotte real quick. Is this he'll fit right in? Imagine if Neymar comes here with our injury problems.
Exactly my point.
It could be, but again, he's gonna bring his own entourage of people. I think it's gonna be a party, bro. I think it's gonna be, and I think it's gonna work. Yeah, as in making the injury list each week. We'll see. I mean, I would like Neymar. I mean, it just makes sense, bro. It just makes sense.
If he's gonna go anywhere at this point, though, he's gonna go to Cincinnati, and they're gonna give him a bag.
Bro, Cincinnati, they eat chili with a spaghetti. What the bro, Brazilian?
I don't know.
Bro,
I don't disagree.
You go to iDrive. You have your pan de queijo. You get your picanha. He can go with Ricardo, play some golf. Go to the parks, bro. Like this is like home for him. Memphis claimed he will stay in Brazil. Yeah, I mean, we'll see.
He's spicy. He's claimed a lot of things, but Santos don't want him. So
it's the same Maximan is balling out for Lens. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. The same Maximan will be huge. Coque and Llorente. Yeah, Coque will be great too. I'll bring Coque with Griezmann.
One could dream, my friend. If I could put Lukeman in his carry-on, I'd do the same.
Bro, I just want to see Griezmann reaction to all of our scores, says Mikey D. Wouldn't be surprised if all of the coaching hires tied to Griezmann. I think it'd be great.
Agreed.
Yeah, I agree. I think Griezmann's gonna have to go like this. And it's like, okay, I want this guy. I think this guy will be great. Now, Mo Salah. I mean, Mo Salah will be amazing.
He's going to Saudi, man. They're gonna throw a bag at him.
Mo Salah's gonna go there. Say what you care about Neymar. He would generate excitement. Exactly, bro. That's you. With Neymar, I'm saying, bro. With Neymar, you bring the casuals, bro. I'm telling. If you front office, if you're listening,
while we're at it, why don't we just bring Kaká into coach, and we can take anybody? Like, I mean, guys, I get it, but
I mean, it's gonna be an excitement. You're gonna have, it's gonna be crazy. And again, imagine if he actually decides to ball out.
I'm more so saying, what if he decides to stay healthy? That would be my biggest thing.
Is it Lukaku? Yeah, that'd be great.
I think it's the wrong profile striker. As much as I like Lukaku, I think with a guy like Griezmann, I think you want a more mobile striker, like an Alvarez, like what Julian Alvarez does for Atleti. I think that's kind of the profile you're looking for. I'm not saying at all though that Lukaku wouldn't tear up MLS, but I think for us we'd have to make some changes to make that work.
All right. So Charlotte, real quick. Wednesday, Charlotte enters in better form while Orlando sits 15th in the East with a horrific -19 goal difference, 25 goals against, 6. This is a must-win home game for another must-win for the Lions. Now, how would they? One of the things I feel like they should change in this game, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Number one in my list right here in my notes is convert the chances. So that's number one.
Yeah,
you can generate as much as you want, but when you generate,
which isn't much, like I just told you.
Yeah, the Lions outpossessed and outshot Houston, but lost.
Yeah.
So convert the chances. The second one that I wrote here is tying the transition defense a little better, because Houston's goal was a direct result of being caught outnumbered on the play. So that was just one few defensive mistake Orlando had in this game, but it cost him dearly. And then again, guys, the energy, the vibes, the few people that are going to be there, the crowd. How do you leverage home crowd with fresh energy? Find the spark. Don't say Pasalic is a great player, but you trust your whole entire squad and everybody can step in and you make subs at minute 90. Like just do it. Like Nike, just do it.
Yeah.
Use your B team pipeline. I've heard from sources that Coach Perlman and in the front office, Ricardo was there at OCB.
They were indeed.
I'm shit. Sorry, but shit. If we have to bring Pedro Leal again in the first team, bring him
He
on.
looked really good yesterday.
Yeah, he looked really good, man. He looked really good.
So did Caraballo as well, also.
So dominate possession again, but be clinical in the final third, and press high early. Try to disrupt Charlotte's rhythm. I think it's. I mean, the way Charlotte is looking right now. I mean,
well, the one plus that we have for Charlotte is Tim Ream won't be available on Wednesday.
Yeah,
their coach said that post game after their last match. What I'll say, Luis, is I think the one thing this team needs to do straight out the gate, and we've talked about this a little bit, and we haven't really seen it yet, is they've got to come out and punch the opponent in the mouth. Like, just come out hot, punch the dude in the mouth, get a goal quick, get a goal early, and then ride the rest of the game that way and ride the momentum in that game. They need to come out. They need to be aggressive. If they go down, they need to continue to be aggressive. They got to find ways to get themselves on the front foot. Because the thing about this as well is Charlotte's not going to let them hold the ball, right? Charlotte's going to take the ball and do stuff with it, right? Especially knowing how down Orlando City is right now. So to me, that's the solution. At this point, play the players that are healthy and that you can get on the field, but find a way to get the ball in the back of the net as quickly as you can.
Yeah. Let's do the lineup real quick here.
Yeah.
So let's do Orlando City. Or not Orlando Pirates. Come on, guys. All right. So I think we're gonna see a back three again. I think we're gonna see this back three again. Do you agree?
If Brekalo's healthy, I bet Brekalo slides back in.
So Brekalo right here.
Yeah. As much as like you can't fault Marine, I think it's Brekalo's back in.
Right now, let's say he's not gonna be part of it. Because he hasn't trained, I believe. So it may be Marine.
Okay.
So Marine, Jansson, Iago again. So Angulo for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then here.
We don't think Dorsey's going to be ready. So yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Taifi.
So I will probably put Taifi. Man, look at that. And then here's in my opinion, the way I see it is it ends up being like, it ends up being literally this essentially. It really ends up being this.
Except you don't have Atuesta this game.
No, you don't have Atuesta this game. So
most likely, based on what we've seen.
Do you think we're going to be seeing Otavio?
I would put Luis Otavio in against Charlotte.
All right. So me too. I would probably put Luis Otavio as well. Luis Otavio, Orlando City. Right there. Brian Ojeda's been one of our best players. So you don't take your best player out. I think Tincho has to play. He's a 10. He's probably going to be captain. And up top, obviously no Pasalic. So I think you're going to see a Spicer and Thiago. I think.
Can I throw a curveball?
Yeah.
Over instead of Spicer, and again, I don't know if the team's going to do this, but I would consider a Justin Ellis or a Harvey Sajarin.
I would probably do that too.
But it's probably going to be Spicer. But I would suggest that that's something they try to look at. Because again, you don't know what you have with these guys unless you play them. And like with Charlotte, you expect to get the barn doors blown off you, right? So you might as well try something and try to shake it up a little bit. But like I said, Tincho has got to be further up the field. He's got to get more involved. And I'm wondering if instead of having like an Atuesta who kind of played like as a dueling 8 with Tincho the last couple of games, if you've got two guys that are just going to sit down in front of the back line like Ojeda and Otavio, maybe that gives Tincho an opportunity to kind of move up, right, and move forward.
Or again, put Ojeda as your striker. I mean, I know this sounds. I mean, don't settle. You can even put Angulo right here, and you could put Thiago on the wing.
Yeah, I worry about Thiago defensively there, but yeah, as long as Brian Ojeda covers, you're probably okay.
Right. So that's another thing that you could do. Yeah. You could also again, if you feel froggy and you think Thiago's more coming in the second half, because you're going to need defensive solidity against, like, I mean, you're going to have Westwood, Bronico, and
Zaha.
no, the three in the mid, Westwood, Bronico, and Biel.
Pep Biel, yeah.
Bro, all those three, they got in these players' faces last season. They wanted to fight them. They hate us, bro. They're gonna play with a lot of intensity. So, maybe, I mean, who's more of a creator that can set up the attack, be a spark? I mean, I know I saw Justin Ellis dropping. It could be him. It could even Harvey could play that role too. Harvey Sajarian.
Yep.
You know, right here. I mean, and then he can switch with Tincho as it comes along, or switch with Spicer.
All I'll say is that if it's not working, Perlman's got to be quick on the draw to make an adjustment.
Or even this, look, like
Pedro Leao. Okay.
You go Pedro Leao with Spicer. I mean, that's another option.
Or you play the Brazilian connection, put Pedro Leao and Thiago up front together, and then have Martino Hayda drop in.
Yeah. Yeah, Thiago Carvalho, I think it's called. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so you could do Thiago here and Pedro Leao right here.
Honestly, I don't hate that at all, to be fair.
I really don't hate this at all whatsoever. I think, look, whether you like it or not, Pedro Leao comes from Flamengo, and the pressure is on, and the kid looks very sharp. I don't think he's gonna. I mean, he's not gonna see Bronico and feel some type of way, scared at all. He's gonna push forward. Thiago, I think he needs to be a little bit more consistent in his dribbling. He's lost a lot of balls, but again, it's his first season in the MLS. Hopefully, he improves. But he does have the not only the stamina, but he has a class and he's poised to hopefully have a good game. I don't mind this, dude. I think I like this lineup.
Well, and you get the Brazilian connection up top, which I think is honestly you can't overlook that, right?
Yeah.
I think it's some, and again, like if Pedro Leao is clicking at OCB, which he is, and that's why I think in this scenario it could be Pedro Leao or it could be Justin Ellis. I think you can go in either direction. I don't agree with the sentiment that Spicer needs to play. I just don't. He didn't show me enough. He didn't show. Well, that was a comment that we just had that came in, but he didn't show me enough in the last game. And he got the goal against Naples, but
yeah, we just need Justin. And I mean, again, thank you for your comment. I think it's fantastic, and I think the club probably gears more of what you're writing.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be Spicer, but
it's probably gonna be. It's probably
to
say
he Spicer needs to play. I just don't know that I agree with that.
I just think that the team needs spark, and we're playing as an underdog against a Charlotte that's watching film of our games. And think about it tactically. Spicer has been playing the past few games for Orlando City, so they're going to have a number on him. So what better curveball than bringing a kid like Pedro Leao that is hungry, that is makes buzz in Brazil because, they didn't want to sell him, coming here and all of that. A kid with a lot of future, high ceiling, and put him in the, okay, man, you're ready to dance? Here you go, Charlotte. Go dance. You know what I mean? I think we have nothing to lose.
I agree with Kenneth too. I think, and having Spicer on your bench is nice because it gives you another piece to bring up, onto the field. Justin, the goal wasn't because they took Spicer off. I don't get that connection at all. I don't know how that connects, but okay. I get it. I appreciate where you're going with it, but I don't think that has the connection that you're alluding to. But also, to Kenneth's point, though, to finish up my thought, I do like the idea of Spicer coming off the bench, right? Because now you have Spicer off the bench, Sajarin off the bench. You have a couple of pieces, whereas like last game, you really had one piece, two pieces at most. Be nice to have an extra piece off the bench to bring in and change the game. And also, you got to look towards DC on the weekend as well. So, like, you got to start hedging your bets on what that looks like.
Yeah, so I think it'd be, Charlotte they're top 3 in the East right now. And so we have to know
throw stuff at the wall.
Right, we have to know our role. And again, I think it'll be, for Orlando, it's become a little bit crazy. Let's say this team that we're putting on the screen right now gets the W. Leao, Thiago, Otavio, Iago, four Brazilians, the 4 Brazilians in the squad.
Mm-hmm.
But let's say Orlando 1-0 greedy win, minute 85, Pedro Leao header, goal, right? Orlando wins. I would not move the squad. I would try.
That's fair.
You know what I mean?
Fair.
I would try to.
I think my only thing against it is like you got to look towards Wednesday against New England. So like maybe you do move the squad just because you want to keep that intact for New England.
Yeah. So you bring up a great point. I think So
you might want to hide your hand a little bit for New England, right? You might want to try to play a couple games. But also, Luis, if Pedro Leao scores a game winner for Orlando City, or if he ends up playing a really good match and we, let's say, I don't know, blow the doors off of Charlotte or something, sign that man to a first team contract. Like, don't even wait. Like, I mean, just
like Justin Ellis, right? I mean, Justin Ellis has a first team contract.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it took a while, but yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I think there you have your 2 strikers, and while Duncan's out,
Yeah.
And then until you get that DP9 that everybody's looking for, hopefully Memphis Depay.
Well, it doesn't have to be Memphis; it can be anybody.
I know. Justin says need to put pressure up front to take pressure off defense.
Yeah, but Thiago and Leao do that. If you've watched their game, Leao actually does that very well. For OCB, and he did that very well for the little bit of appearance that he's had with the main team. So again, these guys can do that. It's about tactics and coaching at that point.
Yeah. So let's read some more comments. Says what we need to do is win. What do we have to lose? I agree with you. Thank you, Adriana. Appreciate you.
The rest of my Wednesday, I don't know.
will y'all be against the DP center back?
Yeah, you just don't do that in MLS just because it's just not the hit rate is not good.
We could have had Walker Zimmerman then.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
We could have done TAM, you know what I mean? MLS is not as physical as South America soccer. Neymar would do well.
Agreed, but if you go back and look at his last 2 years, Neymar's had a lot of soft tissue injuries, which normally don't come from physical play. They come from fitness and strength and like strain. So again, if Neymar comes here, am I going to be like, no, boo, this front office sucks? No, of course not. It's Neymar. But what I'm worried, I am right to worry about injuries, though. I have that right as a fan to worry about injuries on a team that is already very injured.
If Neymar dresses in purple, I'm going to make a promise right now. If Ricardo Moreira is watching and he says, hey, man, I'm a fan of Neymar too. We're going to go and compete.
I'm sure he is.
We're going to tell Cincinnati to stick Skyline Chili up their butt. We are going to go for Neymar. I promise, if we sign Neymar, I will dance Michel Telo's I Si Te Pego, which is Neymar's song, live. There you go. Hopefully now Ricardo's on the phone. Larson from the Wolves. Yeah, that'd be a good one.
Yeah, Wolves are going down, aren't they? I think I saw.
I mean, people are saying Richarlison.
Well, it's because Spurs might go down.
Yeah.
So
I would rather. If you give me, I would rather have Neymar than Richarlison.
Yeah, but you know they'd be salivating at the idea of 100%. Richarlison.
Yeah.
Because we know we were linked to him, so.
Yeah. Just clip it. Ricardo Moreira is definitely not watching.
Stream Jesus, you would be surprised at how many of the media he actually follows and reaches out to. A lot of the club likes to keep plugged in.
Was Hervé Renard really linked to Orlando? No, I don't think so.
No, but I think what people are talking about is there's connections to kind of what we're building. And so.
Because he's French.
Well, no, there's more. Okay, sure.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, can't wait for Leagues Cup. Orlando City is going to get slapped around for sure.
Jeez. Okay, Stream Jesus.
Yeah, I'm sure.
That's why we should play the kids in Leagues Cup.
I think they should play the kids for sure.
But they won't against Monterrey because Monterrey is going to be like, play Griezmann. We want to see Griezmann. We want to play all these dudes. That's going to happen. Score predictions, Luis. How we feeling?
Look, I can't bet on Orlando City to. I'm gonna go gritty win. 1-0 Orlando.
Really?
We're gonna have it's gonna be a PK. Ivan Angulo scores.
You think? Wait. You think Ivan Angulo is gonna take the penalty if we get a penalty?
Bro, he's the only one we got.
It's gonna be Tincho, man.
Okay, Tincho. Okay,
it's gonna be Tincho who takes the.
Tincho scores and then he does this.
Oh, gosh. Okay, well, I'm gonna be more realistic with my take,
and
I think Orlando City lose 3-1.
Oh man.
Yep. I know people aren't gonna like that.
It is within the realm of realism. You're right.
And it is what it is.
You're right. Yeah, it is what it is. If Neymar wore purple and make you both 1 liter of Capri, there you go.
Well, now I'm kind of like, okay, hold on a second.
Now,
hold on a second.
And I'll dance I Chipego on live while drinking.
Adriana, you're sweetening the pot here. Okay, hold on now.
Griezmann moving Pogba. We need. I mean, if he does, hey man, I'll take it. 2-1 Charlotte.
Okay. Kenneth and Ollie were a little bit more optimistic than I was, but they still have a loss.
Hey, Pogba is not bad. I would prefer Koke, like you were saying.
Koke, even at his age, is still balling out.
I mean, he coming off the bench. I mean, I think the way Simeone has really like.
There's our new manager. We bring Simeone over.
No,
and he
you
brings
wouldn't like Simeone though because he's too defensive. I think if people were complaining,
he's a great coach though.
Yeah, he's a great coach. Though.
He's a great coach.
The 3-1 Charlotte, but some reason it's a Marin long.
A Marin long shot. Okay.
Not from
Dang. All right.
Shit.
If Marin scores a goal, this fan base would lose it because we'd lose, and then Marin would score a goal, and you can't really dog the dude if he scores one.
This is, last year, people wanted to. I mean, it's okay. OCB. So OCB real quick before we go.
Yeah, absolutely. So OCB played at home last night against Carolina Core, a team that they played very close in Carolina when they played them last. I was there live, so that's why I can say that I for sure saw Ricardo there, and I for sure saw a lot of people were there, actually. Ricardo was there. Mr. Perlman, he was there with Goldberg and a couple other people on his coaching staff. I saw Iago, he was there. Nacho Gomez, Justin Ellis. Anyway, enough of the celebrities and everybody that was showing up there. OCB was a tale of two halves yesterday. So the first half, they dominated the first half. Completely decimated their opponent. Gustavo Caraballo was the man of the half. He was all over that right-hand side of the pitch. Really dominant, really pushing the ball forward. The first goal is a penalty that he actually puts in, and he draws it himself. He went down the end line and got, just tackled really poorly, but was able to bury the penalty. So he did really well. Gustavo Caraballo, top, hats off to him. Really good stuff.
Yeah, we need to see him in the first team.
Honestly, after these performances, for sure. But then, guys, if you haven't seen the goal from Pedro Leal last night, you have to go watch it because he gets the ball from, and I'm gonna butcher his name, but the guy that they're playing at 10 right now, and I should get to know his name a little bit more.
Bachucheski.
Yeah, he gets the ball right outside the 18. He makes a Maradona turn towards the goal, makes two defenders miss, and buries it in the corner. I mean, just like filthy of all filthy, shots by Pedro Leal. And he was active all game. Really just doing everything he needed to do and whatnot, but just really great stuff. So OCB goes in the half up 2-0. They're feeling really good about themselves, as they should. The second half starts, and it's very much a back and forth game from both teams. Pressure's going to one end to the other end, one end to the other end. And then Carolina Core makes a sub. A player by the name of David Diaz comes on, and he just wreaks havoc on OCB. They just can't defend him very well. He's getting the ball in a lot of spaces and whatnot. And then as soon as OCB makes their first sub, one of their subs, Caleb Trombino, just misses Diaz, like just kind of can't mark him. And he hits this screamer of a ball into the corner and just beats Tristan Himes. And there's not much Tristan can really do at that point. Then quickly afterwards, they ended up getting another goal off of a corner kick. Tristan isn't able to bring the ball all the way down, and he loses it as he's going towards the ground. And then Carolina Core just kicks it in, and that's really it. The rest of the second half, the players did well to try to get some chances. Bernardo Ryan had a really nice breakaway that he just wasn't able to finish. But they just really couldn't get it done. So it goes to penalties. If you don't know this about MLS Next Pro, it goes to penalties. So they went to penalties. Everybody on the OCB side out of the 6 takers made it. On the other side for Carolina, their first 5 made it, and then their 6th kicker hits the post, and unfortunately it bounces out, and so OCB ends up getting the extra point for winning in overtime. Couple players I want to shout out from that team that I think had really good performances. Gustavo Caraballo, just great stuff from him. If you're not watching him or he's not getting looks for the first team, he should be. I mean, I just don't get it at this point. Pedro Leal, same thing. Really good game from him again. I thought he was even more terrorizing this time than he's been in some of the other games he's been in, and that's saying something at this point. So really great stuff from him. Dominic Bashkeski, I'm going to get his name one of these days, played really well at the 10. He's kind of taken over for Justin Ellis since Justin Ellis is kind of elevated to the first team. He had a very good game as well. And then Dylan Judelson. If you don't know who Dylan Judelson is at this point, we're doing you a disservice. He's been a stalwart in the middle of the park. He's been very good. You should be watching him. He is probably going to be the next guy that gets a homegrown deal because he is that good. Just really, really solid stuff from him. So OCB next, they're headed out to Chicago to take on Chicago Fire 2. They'll be playing them this weekend on Sunday. And then obviously they probably won't have a lot of first teamers due to Orlando City's schedule. But if you want to check out any of my little tidbits and facts on there, I have a couple other players I highlighted as well. Feel free to check out my piece on the website. I posted it this morning on the Loud and Proud website. So you can check that out and look at that. But guys, OCB games are a great time. It's a great atmosphere. It's very intimate. It's very intimate atmosphere. So it's a great time to go watch the next the next players with all of that. But then also you see a lot of Orlando City players show up. So it's kind of cool because you can chat with some dudes and chop it up and all that. So and Vapor, I hope that yawn isn't for me talking about OCB. Because come on, man, OCB is definitely a group to watch.
Well, I saw the game after. I didn't see it live, but I thought Judelson looked great the whole game. I think they dominated possession, created quality chances. Definitely looked like a better game from earlier games before, and I think some of the young debuts energized the squad, so that's a plus. Also, I think definitely they're on the right track. I think Leao is looking sharp. I think that kid Judelson, and again, you got Brian Ojeda, you have also Luis Otavio, you have Gusky, and look, if Judelson's still doing great, hey, we have nothing to lose to try him out too for a short-term contract. Caraballo's balling out, and we really need the help, especially on the 1v1 guys.
Yeah.
Spicer gives you that quick cut, like speed, and power, but not so much of the dribbling and the poise that this kid has. I mean, this kid has magic with his feet.
Yeah.
I mean, the kid is a really good player. And I wouldn't be opposed to having have a few minutes with the first team as well. Hopefully we see him in the next few games. I know the road stuff, and hopefully there's no more injuries. I was quite pleasant surprised also by Isa Haruna as well. It seems to be having good games.
Yeah, he's been solid. Yeah.
Just defensively, obviously, he's kind of struggling. But other than that, and this kid, Bachuchewski, Wazowski. Mike Wazowski.
Dominic. Yeah, Dominic.
Dominic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, man. If I murder your last name, my apologies. Bachowski. I think Bachowski did tremendous.
Another player to watch, if there's somebody that you want to watch, is Okonski. He's started the last 2 games for Orlando City B. He is a solid defender, very good in the air as well. He's young, so he's still getting up to speed of how to play on the line. But he's had Sandy Titus Jr. next to him in this game, but he had Jalen Yearwood the game before that, and he's looked solid both times. So he's a guy to watch if you're looking for the next defender. He's one to keep an eye on. I would say Parker Amu-Mensah because I've liked his play so far this year, but he's actually going to school in the fall. I believe he's going to Louisville, so he won't be with OCB for the rest of the season. He's actually going to go to college and play with them instead. So we're not going to see him the whole year. But also, again, another name that I just dropped, Jalen Yearwood is also with OCB, and most of his appearances have been good for OCB this year. So he's another guy that eventually, if we're looking for a wing back or a right back, he's another guy that this team can consider in case they need his services.
Yeah. So, again, OCB is the future is purple. I understand right now, guys, we're on a little bit on the dumps. The vibes are not as high, but again,
can I address Nerdy versus question real quick? Because it's an interesting one. So it says, can other MLS teams buy OCB players? No. So with your 2 teams, the way it works is you have exclusivity rights to your players on your team. And then unless you relinquish those contract rights, another team can't come in and sign them from you, if that makes sense. So it's the best way to think about it contractually is that they're a part of your minor league system, and so they belong to you. And then unless they go out of contract or something like that, then anybody can sign them. Yeah. But if not, you have to be given the blessing to sell them or transfer them or whatever that might be.
Yeah.
So anyway, sorry, Luis, go ahead.
No. So we wanted to tell you thank you so much for your support. It's been a long episode, but still, we kind of went off the tangent a bunch of times. I kind of wanted to show you guys our YouTube channel real quick here before we go. Right here. So we are officially we reached 1,904 subs as of today.
Nice.
So that's thanks to all you guys for your support. We're close to the 2,000 subs. We probably will reach that during the World Cup because we're going to have a lot of stuff for the World Cup. I'm working on kind of making the Loud and Proud page more World Cup oriented. Obviously, thank you for watching all of our shorts, all of our Open Cup stuff. Also, I want to give kudos to all the Zambians. We killed it. I want to give a shout out to my good friend Brenda. She's a reporter in Brazil, and she was providing LPO of amazing footage from Barbara Banda and the FIFA series that they had for the women. Brazil, Zambia, Canada, and Korea, South Korea. And man, it was amazing feedback, amazing stuff. So thank you guys for that. But yeah, make sure you subscribe. We also have our Discord channel, and that's gonna come in handy for when we start talking about the World Cup more, because we're gonna be doing a lot of the US games mainly, Team USA. So make sure I'm gonna send the link real quick before I go, and you want to read some more comments before we go, or anything else you want to say before we go?
Yeah, I mean, come join us on the Discord. Some good lively chat going on over there. So, excited to kind of be a part of that. Just really appreciate everyone sticking with us. I know this was a longer show. Don't forget, we'll be back Thursday to break down the Charlotte game and then also to preview DC. So, come check us out on Thursday. Should be around the same time, right, Luis? Around 8 o'clock. We should be going live for that one. So,
yeah,
come check us out with that. And then I just want to give a shout out again. A couple of fans came and stopped me at the OCB game to say what's up and appreciate, our content and whatnot. I really and truly, I mean this. Thank you. I don't do this for the plaudits. I do this because I love this club, just like you guys do. Because as Luis says, I'm just a fan. I just also happen to have a really good knack for writing, so I'm able to put my thoughts together and put them on the page, and somewhat interests some folks. So, but like I said, I'm not just blowing smoke when I talk about how fun OCB games are. They are really a lot of fun. It's a great atmosphere. You get to meet some of OCB, like the players' parents, which is pretty cool. You get to kind of like hear from their perspective and, get some stuff there. And then, like I said, you get to see some club bigwigs every now and again. Ricardo shows up to almost every OCB game. He's
That's
really
awesome.
diligent about that. The coaching staff, especially when Pareja was here, and then, when all the other coaches were under there, they show up to those games as well. And like I said, you'll see players and whatnot. So it's just really great to kind of check those games out. And also it kind of helps with the current state of the first team, right? You feel a little bit better with that. And then speaking of which, yesterday at the game, John W was there. For those of you that might know him online,
As,
if you watch the In 90 Minutes show.
You mentioned a lot of the parents of the players. So I do want to say,
Yep.
when it comes to the parents, obviously a lot of the parents probably have the players watch us. A lot of our opinions are about the game, and unfortunately, just like any other job, there's going to be bad days in the office. That doesn't take that. Number one, you should feel very proud of your kids for making it to the pros. And that's number one. Number two, more than likely, if they're playing professional, it's like they're really good at what they do.
Sure.
So be sometimes, I mean, at least when it comes to us, we like to be respectful and give our opinions in a respectful manner.
Mm-hmm.
And with the understanding that there's going to be a game that they're going to ball out, and they're going to ball out back to back. And that's what happened with Alex Freeman, and look how it panned out. It can happen with Tahir Reed Brown. It can happen with Sak Taifi. Like, again, the
Justin
future,
Ellis could ball out.
yeah,
Carballo,
Justin Ellis,
whatever.
Caraballo. So the future is purple, and I want to give a shout out to all the parents, because it is tough as a parent.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys have to sacrifice many nights to go out and take him to practice. So for them to, I'm talking about the kids have been here since the developmental. So the Taifis, the Guskies, like, kudos to you guys, because it's that the love and the passion you guys have for the badge is tremendous. And hey man, you guys are the epitome of Vamos Orlando, technically.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, without you guys' effort, I think your kids would have not been able to have a career in something they love to do and they're really good at.
Yeah. And then to bounce off of Luis's comments, like, that's why I decided to start covering OCB this year, is not only because it's a blind spot sort of in the community, but also these kids deserve hype, right? Like, we need to talk about these kids more. They've put a lot of work in. Their parents have put a lot of work in. So it's only right that we kind of give them the credit they deserve. You'll never see in any of my OCB coverage of me being down on a player that's with OCB or beating up a player that's on OCB. That's not the goal of what this is. Young players are going to make mistakes. They're going to grow. They're going to learn. Sometimes I might say there's an opportunity here, an opportunity there, but the biggest thing is at the end of the day that we start to build the purple pipeline. And that's exactly what we're starting to see under this front office and this ownership group. So let's just hope we can get a coach in that can continue to play the kids and give them an opportunity.
Yeah, and again, keep supporting the club. I know we're on the dump, so keep supporting the club. Keep going. Keep it up. If you're an STM, let me tell you, who have been an STM in the worst years of Orlando City, but I don't regret it one bit, because
Absolutely.
the experience and the people that I got to meet and the friends that I made, it was invaluable. And I think the community, it's there to support you. Join the ILF or Ruckus. I mean, they're phenomenal people there. So keep supporting, keep going. I mean, Griezmann is coming soon. Yes, he's not the whole fix of everything, but I'm sure there's going to be a plan and moving forward. So we want to end the show on a positive note. Thank you guys for your support. Thank you, David. We'll see you guys next episode on Thursday. Vamos, Orlando. Take care, guys.